It's a weather alert day in southern Colorado. I've got rain and snow showers in the forecast today. Some of us could be seeing accumulation. I'll let you know where that happens coming up.
Michael approaches Florida.
We haven't seen anything like this in the Panhandle in decades. You're not going to survive this. Don't take a chance.
That is the big concern here along the coast. And just to give you an idea of what that would look like, imagine this boat completely underwater.
Midterm battlegrounds.
This is the kind of race that Democrats flat out need to win if they're going to be successful in taking back the House this fall.
I don't know who I'm voting for.
I like him and trust him as a person.
It's tough to survive sometimes, you know.
Plus, is the cost of living going up in Colorado Springs?
You're watching KRDO News Channel 13, where the news comes first. Your news starts right now.
We're tracking some big stories at noon this Tuesday. Cold weather striking again in southern Colorado. When will we see some warmth return? And then Hurricane Michael barreling toward the Florida coast. How are people there preparing? And across the country, states are turning into battlegrounds as the midterms close in. Plus, is Colorado Springs getting more expensive? Our very own Colby Crosley is getting reaction from locals. Good afternoon, and thanks so much for joining us. I'm Shannon Bertius. John Carroll has the day off. You're watching KRDO News Channel 13. We're also live on the air on KRDO News Radio. Well, first, let's start off with the weather because it affects all of us. Let's go outside and give you a look at what you can see if you are out in the elements today. Katie Donovan is going to be along shortly, but the cold Colorado weather to Florida beaches, a big difference in the weather that you see.
Yeah, absolutely. It is winter here in Colorado today. This is a live look in Rush. Snow is coming down. We've got some fog out there, a lot of low clouds. So all those showers have moved in right on time here, closer to the I-25 corridor. That's what we're seeing right now on satellite and radar. This pink line right here, this is the cutoff between rain and snow, the rain-snow line. So anyone north of that pink line, they're really seeing all wet snow right now. Further south, we're just seeing a pretty steady rainfall. That's going to be south of Truckton into Pueblo County. So Pueblo, you are seeing some light rainfall out there, some pockets of moderate rain. We're finding that yellow there. And then further south, we've got some cooler air through Los Animas County. So you're finding that rain-snow mix around Kim, north of Branson, even back into Trinidad. Trinidad, you're probably seeing some flurries right now. Currently 39 in Springs. We've got 40 in Fountain, 41 in Pueblo, about 34 in Ellicott, and we have some low to mid 30s through Monument and Woodland Park. So it is a chilly day, a weather alert day, because we've got the snow, we've got the rain, and we have those cold temperatures today. In fact, some of that snow could be accumulating. I'll let you know who could be seeing that accumulation. We're also going to be talking about freezing temperatures tonight. Freeze watch is in place. That's all coming up. Shannon?
Okay, Katie, thanks. Well, from our Colorado weather to the Florida beaches, as we were saying, there is this big change, this big difference in the scenes between there and here. And let's take you live to Panama City, Florida, which doesn't look too bad. You can see the surf, it is gaining strength. But as for the weather, this looks like a pretty typical weather day there. However, we know that Michael is offshore and heading there. This is the monster that's barreling toward Florida. Hurricane Michael making its way toward the Gulf Coast. The storm packing fierce winds up to 110 miles per hour, nearly a Category 3 hurricane. States of emergency being declared across the Panhandle with mandatory evacuations in place for more than 100,000 people. ABC's Elizabeth Hers on the ground in Panama City Beach with the latest.
As of 6 a.m., a mandatory evacuation order went into effect where we are. In fact, take a look. The beach behind me, a virtual ghost town, and this is exactly what officials want to see. They've been pleading with residents, do not take any chances. This morning, Hurricane Michael on the move, heading toward the U.S. after pounding the coasts of Mexico and Cuba. Hurricane hunters tracking Michael, warning the worst is yet to come.
Unfortunately, all the indications are that it's going to continue to strengthen a lot overnight and throughout the day tomorrow.
The hurricane growing stronger, now expected to make landfall as a Category 3 storm. Officials saying the wind and rain will be damaging, but the storm surge will be devastating.
Well, that is the big concern here along the coast. And just to give you an idea of what that would look like, imagine this boat completely underwater.
Our Victor Oquendo is on the ground in one of the danger zones in Apalachicola, and Florida Governor Rick Scott stressing residents need to take Michael seriously.
We've seen those pictures of tsunamis coming in. That's just, what, 2 or 3 feet, and that's deadly. We're going to see it all along the Panhandle. We haven't seen anything like this in the Panhandle in decades.
Residents heeding orders to leave are now racing to escape Panama City Beach. In Tallahassee, these drivers are waiting hours in line to gas up. And in other parts of Florida, home and business owners are busy preparing by sandbagging and stocking up on food and water for what authorities warn will be a monstrous storm.
The potential of 12 feet of storm surge in some areas is just deadly. You're not going to survive this. Don't take a chance.
Right now, it is overcast, a little windy, and the water's relatively calm so far. But again, you heard the governor. For residents who've been ordered to evacuate, the time to get out is now. Elizabeth Herr, ABC News, Panama City Beach, Florida.
And in the Caribbean, Michael, making things difficult for people there already. This video was tweeted out from someone on board the Royal Caribbean's Empress of the Seas cruise ship. Just look at the rough seas that they are sailing in. This is off the coast of Cuba. Lightning striking off in the distance repeatedly. We're going to continue to monitor Hurricane Michael's movement, and you can get the latest on the storm while on the go by downloading our news app from the Apple iTunes Store or the Android Marketplace. Breaking news from the nation's capital. During a meeting at the White House, President Trump announced UN Ambassador Nikki Haley will step aside by the end of the year. Trump says she told him several months ago she wanted to take time off. Haley stated that government officials need to know when to leave a position. Trump plans to name a replacement in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Haley became UN ambassador in January of 2017. Prior to her appointment by Trump, she served as South Carolina's governor. Now to your Colorado Capitol report. The two men vying for our state's governor's seat faced off again last night in the Steel City. Democrat Jared Polis and Republican Walker Stapleton talked about issues facing southern Colorado like marijuana and the homeless. They also talked about School District 60 in Pueblo going to a 4-day week. Stapleton saying that administrators are being paid too much. Polis arguing that schools should go to 4 days if they choose to.
That is money that you and me as parents and taxpayers and investors in the future of our public education system are spending that is not getting in the classroom where it belongs.
Some districts choose to go to 4-day or offer that as an option, but no district should be forced out of economic necessity to cut a day from the school week.
The most talked about moment of the night was when Stapleton was booed by the audience after making a comment about Polis's 2 young kids.
Does that mean you tell your kids to smoke weed for schools? Is that the idea?
Talking there about the issue of medicinal marijuana being used by students. Now, the next debate between the two gubernatorial candidates will be held on October 13th. It'll be held here in Colorado Springs. From the Colorado battle to the national battle now, as elections across the nation are being anticipated for what's expected to be one of the most closely watched midterms in recent memory. And one of those important midterm elections is taking place in Pennsylvania. Right now, the state's 17th congressional district is being fought over by 2 sitting congressmen. ABC's Janae Norman has the latest from Pennsylvania.
It's incumbent versus incumbent in Pennsylvania's newly drawn 17th congressional district, the country's only congressional race with 2 sitting congressmen.
This is the kind of race that Democrats flat out need to win if they're going to be successful in taking back the House this fall.
The race pits Connor Lamb, a young, energetic, moderate Democrat, against staunch social conservative Keith Rothus, gunning for the new district, now encompassing all of Beaver County and parts of Allegheny County, with a lot of moderate voters up for grabs, like Debbie Beck, a registered Republican who says she's undecided which candidate will get her vote.
I don't know who I'm voting for.
And Tim Frazier, a registered Democrat and member of the local steelworkers union.
As far as the congressional election, I stand behind Connor Lamb. He's had our back, and we have his back.
Lamb has momentum after narrowly beating a Republican in March, winning a special election for the state's 18th district, a deep red district President Trump won by 20 points in 2016. Now running in this new district, redrawn by the state Supreme Court and home to an estimated 70,000 union workers.
This is a district with a lot of building trades workers, construction workers, electricians, welders. Keith Rothus does not relate to them. and Connor Lamb does.
Last month, Republican Representative Keith Rothis took a hit when the National Republican Campaign Committee stopped spending money to help his campaign, a sign they may be cutting losses. But he's backed by President Trump, who tweeted that Keith is strong on crime, the border, and our Second Amendment, loves our military and our vets. We found a couple who say Rothis is the way to go.
I like him and trust him as a person. He's from our area, and he's a good guy.
Polls have shown Lamb up by double digits. The president's party historically loses seats during the midterm, but President Trump has predicted a red wave come November, though maybe not in this district. One poll showing 51% of the district disapproving of how he's doing in office. Janae Norman, ABC News, Aspinwall, Pennsylvania.
We have a community alert for you. Is your wallet feeling a little thin these days? It could be from anything from gas for your car to the rent you pay. A recent study out from Forbes shows that the cost of living here in Colorado Springs has skyrocketed since last year. KRDO News Channel 13's Colby Crossley joins us live. And Colby, just how expensive is it to live here in this city?
Well, in a recent study, Colorado Springs was listed as one of the best places to live in the country. And now Forbes is saying it's also one of the most expensive places to live in the country. So we took to the streets of downtown Colorado Springs and we asked people about the rise in cost of living. In the last year, Colorado Springs has seen a 36% increase when it comes to cost of living. That's good for first in the nation.
It's tough to survive sometimes, you know.
I grew up, this was a small town, and so yeah, to live in a city, you know, like this is not something I prefer. In fact, I'm moving to Montana.
In 2017, the income you needed to support yourself and cover the key necessities, luxuries, and savings was nearly $50,000. Now, you need to make $67,000. However, some people say they haven't noticed a difference.
I haven't really noticed it. Haven't seen a big change for me personally.
I feel like the cost of wages went up as well.
The driving force behind this increase? The cost of housing.
In the past year, we've had about a 14% increase, Q2 to Q2. But you look at that, all those double-digit increases, by the time you figure out that you're pricing people out of the market, they've already started to leave.
Tatiana Bailey, Director of Economics at UCCS, says this is something that Colorado Springs has been benefiting from as people move from Denver to here. However, one resident who grew up here says living has been a struggle because of it.
It's difficult. I'm a single father, I got 2 kids, and it's hard to survive.
As more and more people move to Colorado Springs, creating a bigger demand for housing, prices will only increase. Now, Colorado Springs wasn't the only city from Colorado that made the list. Denver also made this list, seeing a 24% increase from last year. In Colorado Springs, I'm Colby Crossley, KRDO News Channel 13.
Okay, Colby, thanks so much for that. Some breaking news now. A single vehicle crash has closed westbound Fountain Boulevard between Shelton and Circle. The Colorado Springs Fire Department is on the scene. From our traffic maps, you can see the slowing and the stop and go traffic in that area, especially as you're in the westbound lanes there of Fountain Boulevard. Now, an alternate route is in place. We'll continue to bring you updates on that. Remembering the victims, a community gathers to remember those killed in a limo crash in upstate New York. Still ahead, what the investigation's finding. But first, our very own Hannah Knutson is showing us how Instagram is putting its foot down on cyberbullying.
And if you're still struggling with allergies, we have a lot of rain and snow in the forecast both today and later on tonight. I'll be tracking out those afternoon showers and storms, which should help bring those pollen levels down some coming up.